Mervin was a friend. He was a mentor. He was someone I really looked up to. Um, he opened my eyes to possibilities that I didn't see before, you know. He was somebody who was working in media, but also working in community. Before I met Mervin, I hadn't worked in community media. And he showed me how important it was to not only do things that make me visible, but to bring people along with me to serve my community. And he was a huge inspiration in my life.
Well, I heard about Mervin before I met him. He was creating a bit of a buzz in London with some friends of mine. I used to live in London, England, and I had come over, and while I was over here, he had gone to London, and he met up just by chance a bunch of people that I knew. And so I had heard about this guy, and then Camille met him at a conference in, was it at Brown?
No, at MIT in
At
Boston.
MIT.
Yeah.
So there was a conference there. What was the name of
It
it?
was called Race in Digital Space.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So then Camille came back to town and said, I met this guy Mervin, and he knows about you. And I said, oh, cool. And then Mervin said, did he, I don't remember the order of that part. Like
he basically invited us.
He invited us to come and do the container project in Jamaica.
Yeah.
And yeah, that was a great thing to do.
It was an amazing thing. So Mike and I came for the original boot up of the container. We had practitioners from the UK as well. That came down for that, and we were just starting the project. It was exciting. It was this big, you know, yellow box that was sitting in the middle of this place called Palmer's Cross, where Mervin lived, and the community came out to help. They came out to cut the windows out, to prop them up, to create this amazing space with computers in it that were salvaged from you know, old computers. They would take the good bits out and rebuild computers. There was a sign painter that came out to paint the sign on the computer and the container, and just everyone came out to really take ownership of the project and to start using the media. You know, the first day we got there were these kids that wanted to shoot music videos. They had talent for days. They just came out and started singing, and we were lighting the whole scene by car light, and we shot these videos, and we just played them over and over, and people never tired of watching themselves, you know, in this medium that they'd never seen themselves represented in. So it was kind of Mervin's dream to really find a way to involve people in his community in this thing, because at the time the internet was pretty new and things were happening, but Jamaicans just were not a part of it. At least his community was just so left out of this whole digital world, and he really wanted to get people involved. And so his idea was to just bring a computer and put it down in front of his his front porch, and then he thought through, you know, what this thing could be. And
well, he did the RTech program in London, and I had been working there previously. I wasn't there when Mervin was there, but I knew what the program was about, and it was about teaching people how to use media tools, basically. And he was really inspired by that, and he got a lot out of it. And I think he really wanted to share that. He was inspired by the empowerment, and he wanted to help other people use it as a tool from his hometown. And so his idea was repatriating technology. He had that right on the container. Mm-hmm. And he had this whole idea about people in his hometown being able to use this media to get word out. And part of his idea was about, you know, the music business in Jamaica had made such a big impact around the world, and why would it just stop with music? Like, why couldn't it be other forms of media? Mm-hmm. And there's a lot of people in Jamaica who know how to make, you know, audio media and video media, and so he wanted to try and coordinate that and get it at a grassroots level happening and have people speak.
And so, yeah, oh, sorry. Yeah, so, and Jennifer also came, we went twice together to Jamaica to work with the container, and that was pretty amazing, all the digital storytelling that we did. Jen, you want to talk a little bit about that?
So we went to the container, and what Mervin did was he had a couple of things that he wanted to do. One of them was to give the youth in his community media and technology skills. So it was practical. It was like, we want you to learn these computers. We want you to build yourself up. But he also felt like if you don't know what's out there and what's possible, then it's hard to dream big. And so he had this saying that was like, you've got to look over the fence and see what's there. And so one way that he did that was by inviting artists from around the world to come to the community to engage with them and to have youth learn all sorts of different kinds of media, but also to hear, you know, what could be possible from lots of different people. So mentorship was a really big part of that. And so we taught a group there how to make their own digital stories, which are short videos that are life story based. And then those youth taught others in the community how to make them. So they learned how to sort of pass that skill on. Yeah.
I mean, we really wanted to honor him. This community was the first community that he came to in Toronto, actually. And he was really well respected here, and the community really responded to him. So that it was a really special place to him. So we wanted to do something here. And we wanted to share his influence and his impact on us with other people who possibly hadn't met him, but would have really loved him if they did, you know. And also we came here together to just really I don't know, to just come together to really share, you know, what who he was. And we brought in other people by Skype as well, so around the world. So there were people from Australia, from the US, from Jamaica, who had worked with him, had known him, had been influenced by him, that came together. So it was quite an event that Mervin would have just loved, you know?
Yeah, it was in keeping with things that he was talking about and that we'd talked about with him. And he had a lot more ideas in him, you know, he wasn't finished. And it seemed kind of wrong that it would just stop. And so we felt like we wanted to try and continue it or pass it on or just give it some kind of continuation. So, you know, we were all inspired by him, so we were hoping that we could kind of make good on that, really. Yeah.
Yeah, well, it was exciting speaking with Deborah and Francesca in Australia. We just recently spoke with them, and they are so excited about just when they had been working with Mervin, and when Mervin died, it's like the wind went out of the sails, you know. But now they're really inspired and excited again to continue some of the work that they were doing together. And so one of the things they're kind of brainstorming is how to do some sort of a mobile media project with food. So they're combining like this whole idea of a food truck with the media. And so we've been sort of brainstorming that, and they're going to be doing, what is it called, bush tucker food. Yeah. And media.
So they're mixing some you know, indigenous Australian ideas with Jamaican ideas and all different kinds of ideas to do this kind of mashup, really, isn't it?
Yeah.
A mobile lab that has food and media, which sounds really exciting. And we've had one meeting with them over the internet about it, and they seem pretty excited. And Mervin was really popular in Australia.
He was. For the last 5 years of his life, he was basically, you know,
he left a lot of impressed people
based there. So yeah.
there's some good support there for some of these ideas.
Yeah.
He had a really amazing approach, like, because he was very real, you know? He was no nonsense. He spoke from a place of knowledge about the street and where he came from. And it really was heard by young people who were struggling. He really made an impact because they could see that he was real, and they knew they were talking to somebody who knew some of their struggles. And he used himself as an example of how you can rise above and make better for yourself. And it wasn't the same as like maybe a careers counselor or somebody saying, hey, if you learn these skills, you'll be able to get a job. Like, he never kind of came across like that. He came across like, you have something to say, you're valuable, you want to speak, here's a way that you can speak and be heard. And that's how he presented it, and that was much more appealing to everybody, especially to young people.
So one of the last projects he did was the wheelie, he called it the wheelie bin at first, and then he later rebranded it the Ice Street Lab. The Ice Street Lab was basically, when he started it, was this, you know, those mobile garbage cans? So it was one of those, and basically retrofitting it so it would contain an entire media lab. So you could just wheel it up to any street corner, open it up, and you've got a fully functioning recording studio right on the street corner. So his idea was to reach the hardest to reach people, people who would never come into an institution or, you know, a space that's, you know, a place that they just didn't feel comfortable in. So instead of, you know, people asking people to come to them, he went out to them. And so it was an amazing initiative, and he brought it all over Australia. Really, you know, ate it up. There were so many Ice Street Labs that have been created in different parts of Australia.
And he won an award in Sweden, right? What was the name of that award?
It was the Stockholm, the Stockholm Challenge Prize. So, and it was for basically community media. This is an international prize, and it was really exciting. And also, he won a Jamaica Medal of Honor as well. So it was pretty exciting.
He worked in lots of different countries around the world, in lots of communities that had a lot in common with each other. You know, communities that were marginalized, that young people weren't heard, that might have lived in poverty or been sort of on the fringe for certain reasons. And lost my train of thought. What was I saying?
Well, we brought those, in this memorial, we kind of tried to bring those worlds together outside of Mervin, because Mervin was kind of the hub for all of that activity, and we knew about these other things, but like maybe you had more connection with some of the points.
Yeah.
But it was about trying to get the energy of all those different points together, because we felt that they could dissipate, you know, if they were just kept separate. So part of the idea was to bring those energies together and try and find a way to go forward, because, you know, Mervin was a very special guy. None of us could on our own be Mervin, you know. We're not going to replace Mervin, but maybe a group of people or a community of people could continue what he was doing. And that was our best hope for, you know, continuing what he was doing. And we think that what he was doing was really valuable, and we don't want to see it stop. We want to see it continue. So that was our strategy. We'll see if it works, you know, but so far we've got communication going, and that's good. Yeah. So we're hopeful, but, you know, it's an experiment, right?
Mm-hmm. And the internet is a funny place, because it's this idea that you can reach everybody in the world on the internet and through the web. And I think in other ways, everything can slip through that. And so it felt like when we lost Mervin, that if you looked online, you really couldn't find like a singular place that memorialized him, or that remembered him, or that said all the amazing things that he did. And so I think we need heroes, and I think we need role models, and I think people need to see themselves reflected in the media. And I think Mervin created a lot of ways where he himself was a person that needed to be seen, but also that all of the people that created media because of him, because of his teaching, because of because they were given the tools by him, because they were given like a push to say, you deserve to take up that space. That's what we wanted to be able to create a space for, both online and in person. So that's why at the event, we had an event where we invited people, and we called it a 9-night celebration, which is what they call, you know, the sort of funeral celebrations in Jamaica. So we wanted to feast together. We wanted to have art activities where people reflected on who their heroes were and who they were remembering and how we remembered Mervin. And so we wanted that face-to-face contact, but we also wanted the space out to reach all the other people in different countries that connected to him.
Yeah. I'd been in Toronto, and you know, I learned how to use media, and I'd been doing this for a while, and looking around me, I didn't see anyone that looked like me that was a media arts practitioner, you know, working in new media in particular. And when I went to Boston, all of a sudden I saw these amazing people around me. The person that really stood out, though, was Mervin. And the reason he stood out is because he was someone who was, as Mike said, just a really real person. You know, he spoke the language of the street. He was not someone who was putting on airs and speaking in this fancy language that I didn't understand. And so we really connected. And plus, he was from Jamaica, which is where I'm from. So that was an incredible meeting. And then soon after that, I brought him to Toronto, and he worked here with Regent Park Focus. So that was an incredible experience for me, because that was the first time I'd ever worked with a community. So since then, Mervin and I traveled all over the world together. We went to Australia, we went to the UK, we traveled in different parts of Canada and in Jamaica. And we've done all kinds of different projects with all kinds of collaborators, Jen and Mike, Jim Ruxton, all kinds of other people. And sadly, we lost Mervin 2 years ago. And it has been really difficult. It's been really difficult, and it has been such an honor to connect with people that he knew and he loved. And so doing this memorial has been an incredible way to start healing, you know, by everybody reaching out to each other and basking in how wonderful it is to be connected.
I'm Jennifer LaFontaine.
I'm Camille Turner.
I'm Mike Steventon.